You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. Everywhere, women are becoming more and more empowered, and the barriers that used to hinder women from getting involved in entrepreneurship, they are being overcome, and people, women, men and women from all over the world are taking this leap and getting into the Rebelpreneur spirit. Today's guest really exemplifies this spirit. I am speaking with Micheale Eccleston. She is a fashion designer, a speaker, a stylist, fashion editor, an author, a wife, and a mother, and she was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Micheale empowers women to own their beautiful flaws and all. Micheale is impacting the lives of women all over, and she truly wants to help women with their confidence by sharing her story. Micheale, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you so much for having me, Ralph.
I really appreciate you being on the show and giving us your perspective and sharing your story with us. Your website is sochicsou.com. You have been interested in fashion for quite a long time. Tell us a little bit about your background. What got you interested in fashion, and how did you get in business?
Wow. Okay. So I've been in the fashion industry since I was 15 years old. I was the youngest modeling and acting instructor at John Casablancas in Atlanta, Georgia. And at that time, I'm teaching with 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, and the boss at the time decided to take a chance on me. And so I've been in fashion for over a decade. I'm telling my age now. I'm 30. But yes, it's always been close to my heart. And my purpose is bigger than fashion. I really want to help women feel empowered, feel beautiful, feel confident, because when you take those name brands off, you still have to love yourself. So yes, I've been in the fashion industry for a long time. And as a matter of fact, it did not resurface until about 2 years ago, Ralph. Funny enough. I could tell you a story about that.
Yeah, well, go ahead and tell us about it. But first, I really love what you said about fashion. It's not just the clothes that you wear. It's not the labels and the brands. It's how you feel about yourself. And if you feel confident about yourself and your appearance, you're going to exude that confidence in other people, and it's going to help you perform better. If you feel better about yourself, you're just going to do better work, whatever that work is. And so
exactly,
this is a whole lot more than just dressing up someone and making them look nice. It really goes much deeper, doesn't it?
It does. And that's where my passion is. It's beyond the clothes. It's also within, for sure.
So you empower women, it says, to own their beautiful, flaws and all. Tell us a little bit about that philosophy and how that motivates your fashion and your style and design.
Yeah, so I am a mom of two, and like I told you, I've been in the fashion industry since I was 15, 16 years old. And in the fashion industry, you're told you have to look beautiful. You have to look beautiful. You have to be flawless. There's no flaws. And in the fashion industry, there is a certain size that you have to stay within, where people consider you beautiful. So being a mom of two, having 2 C-sections, and then I, got loose skin and stretch marks. I had it all, flaws and all. It affected my confidence, Ralph. And I told myself, okay, you have to pick yourself back up. You have to find your way. And I, talk about that in my book, Driven by Imperfections, Beautiful Flaws and All. But I had to find my way back. It didn't matter what my husband told me, no matter what I had on, I didn't feel good enough. And so that's why my business is so close to my heart, where it's beyond the exterior and focusing on the interior. Because like I said, when you take those clothes off, I want women to love themselves inside and out. So I speak about that when I go to speak across the world. I'm going to London next year for a women's conference. I'm actually going to be in a conference next month in South Carolina. So beyond the boutiques, when I'm speaking to women and I'm telling them my story, it's to make them remember how to love themselves from within. And so that's why that passion is so close to my heart, because my body image had changed after having 2 kids, and I had to learn to love myself all over again.
Yeah, that's so important, especially for women and in this social media, Instagram-driven society that we live in. And no one posts ugly pictures of themselves, and usually the pictures that they post don't always represent who they really are.
Exactly.
It's so easy to touch those photos up and to do Photoshop stuff and filters on it and all kinds of airbrushing and editing. And before you know it, you've got...
You don't know what's real or fake.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about fake news. You've got these fake images and fake personas that people put out there. So what you're doing is really important. And when I go on your website, sochicsoyou.com, I don't see the typical skinny models, walking around. You are creating styles for everybody and every body type, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Who do you work with? Who seeks you out, and who do you help with fashion and style and really creating their own brand of uniqueness?
Yeah, so that's actually a funny story, because even with So Chic, So You, I was not the model when I first launched my business. I fell back into the tradition of how, other companies that you look up to that's been in the fashion business for decades and the certain models that they use. And for some reason, it wasn't connecting with my clients. And then my friend said to me one day, Micheale, she was like, why aren't you modeling? Why don't you model your brand? And I'm just like, yeah, no. And then I started to critique myself. And she said, Micheale, isn't that the clientele you're going after? So even right down the front of my website, that is me and a full-figured woman right beside me. She's a model. She's a radio host herself. But the type of clients that I get are moms, are businesswomen, are doctors, are, web designers, are your everyday women, bosses making money, but they've gotten kind of stuck in their wardrobe and they needed someone to kind of help them spice it up, someone they know they could relate to, which is why it's so important that I'm sharing my story.
I really like that. And I've got 2 daughters, and I know that there's this pressure out there for women to look a certain way, to act a certain way. So I think what you're doing is really, really important. What would you say is the biggest problem you see when you're helping women to overcome this sense that they're not enough, or they don't know how to be themselves? They are trying to create their own place in the world, and they want a style that reflects their uniqueness. And there's got to be, I would think, some challenges with helping women to overcome all the stories and the scripts and the things that society has basically dictated to them. But what would you say is the biggest hindrance in the people that you're helping, that you have to help them overcome to be able to get to that point?
Oh, for sure. I mean, everything that we've talked about so far, especially with the social media world that we live in. Every model, every Instagram, mogul you see out there, they have the trimmest, smallest waist. Everything is perfect. Like you said, you don't know what's real or fake.
Yeah.
So my biggest problem is teaching women to be comfortable within the body image that they currently have. And don't get me wrong at all. I work out. I live a very fit lifestyle. But there's nothing wrong with trying to be a better version of you. But as long as you love yourself during the process, that is the big hiccup. It's like you have women like, yeah, but that's not my baby weight, or, oh no, that wasn't me, 5 years ago. And it's like, yes, we can, work out, we can do certain things to get to that point, but you got to love yourself through the process. So I think it's just getting women out of their own head and saying, hey, this is what we look like right now. These are the type of outfits that go for your body image. These are the colors that go well. This is a color palette that will look good with your skin tone and things like that. So that as you're working on yourself, if that's what you choose, you're like, wow, I can step out and feel good about myself and walk out in style, not feeling ashamed or wearing a big T-shirt and baggy jeans because you're trying to cover up an image that everyone still sees. And instead of you covering up your body, what you're presenting to the world is a lesser image of yourself, and you're showing your confidence, the lack thereof, should I say.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the biggest issues that I run into.
That makes a lot of sense. Helping people not to change their body image, and like you said, there's a difference. If you're exercising, being fit, and so forth, that's one thing. But then to be in a place where you're not happy with your body image because of peer pressure and societal expectations. And I really like what you said about comparing where you are now to where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago or where you were in high school. Look, whether you are a man or a woman, none of us look like we did 5 years ago. And
sure don't.
You know what? 5 years from now, we're not going to look the same either. So hopefully,
very true. You have to learn to embrace that.
Yeah, that's it. We can't. We got to learn, like you said, to be comfortable with our body image and work with what we have. Not get obsessed with what we don't have and start comparing our image, our body type, to our weight, our look to someone else. Because that's apples to oranges. They haven't been through what you've been through. Right?
Yes. And you know what's even worse, Ralph, and why it's so important no matter what size you are or what size you're trying to become? Because if you don't learn to love yourself, you never will, even when you get to your ideal weight, because that's what it never was about. You will then find something else to critique or find something else that's a flaw. You will never be satisfied because what's missing is there's a hole in your heart and you never learn to fill that.
Yeah.
That's the importance of it.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's not just changing your clothes,
Exactly.
You can give someone a wardrobe makeover, but if they don't deal with their self-image, you're just going to dress them up in new clothes, and they still will not see themselves as acceptable and worthy of love, worthy of acceptance. And so it's got to go much deeper than that. So what can someone listening to this right now, who maybe they've recognized themselves in this conversation and they're struggling with their body image, what do you recommend that they can begin to do to start to make some immediate improvement in how they see themselves?
I love that you asked that question, Ralph, because I share my own journey and my own story in my book, like I mentioned, Driven by Imperfections. And I talk about that in chapter 7, where it's finding my way back. I felt lost. I felt not myself. I knew something was off. I was that mom. I was that person wearing the baggy T-shirts, not caring how I looked for my husband. I just didn't care. I didn't feel like my old self, like we said 5 years ago. So it was like, what is the point? And one day, you know how they said you can't knock a good man down for long? Well, I guess that was me. I guess the lion inside of me woke up and said, we have to start doing something. So like little steps that would definitely help is making yourself a priority every day. It might sound really simple, but taking a shower and spraying some lovely perfume on. So you're not doing it to go on a date. You're not doing it because you're going out. You're doing it for yourself. So when you smell good, you feel good. It all intertwines with each other. Doing weekly things that says, you know what, this is for me this week. I love to knit, or I love to write, or I love to, do puzzles, whatever that is for you, instead of saying, oh, I don't have the time. I'm caught up with kids or I'm caught up with work. Nope, I have this block of time locked out on Thursday. This time is just for me, my me time. All those different little things are different little steps that you can take that I talk about in my book to finding your way back to loving yourself.
I love that. And, I think some people, when they hear this, they think, well, I just don't have time. Well, there's a couple of things I would say. First, you can't afford not to take time for yourself, because it's the old thing about the airplane. They give you the instructions before you take off. And they tell you, if you have a sudden loss of cabin pressure, in other words, there's a big hole in the airplane,
right?
Then the oxygen mask will drop down. Secure your mask first before you try to help others. Why? Well, because you've only got a few seconds. And if you're trying to help everybody else, but you don't take care of yourself, you're going to pass out and then you can't help anybody. So that's important. And the other thing is, when you take some space, take some time, me time, self-care, recovery, whatever you want to call it, when you work that into your schedule, it doesn't have to be this huge, in 2 or 3 days that I have to spend. And it could just be a few minutes a day. It doesn't have to be a huge part of your day to make a really big difference, right?
Yes, for sure. I love that you said that, because you hear that and you tell yourself, it's the same reason why people find excuses for working out. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have 2 hours to give to a personal trainer. No one said anything about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Give yourself 10 minutes. You can do cardio at home, or, wake up and as you're brushing your teeth, you twist your arm. There's just little things. It's just how you decide to make it a priority. And I love that airplane example you use. That is amazing. Take care of yourself first. And it's up to you how much time you want to devote to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So make yourself a priority. What's the other thing that they can do?
Make yourself a priority. Let me see. You can also, I love doing positive affirmations. I used to write them all over my mirror, telling yourself you are beautiful, you are good enough, you are amazing. Yes, you can. Because on this entrepreneurial journey, not only talking about body image, but also, if you're striving to get to a certain level of success, you will get knocked down. It's not if, it's not, it's when. And you have to be strong in this business. And, lifting yourself up with positive affirmations goes a long way. You have, I think 90% of your thoughts are negative and only 10% are positive. And the way how you reverse that, it's called a bad habit. Okay. I don't think people realize that your body is trained through life experiences that you've, had happen to you to automatically think of the worst case scenario of what can happen. Instead of dwelling on that, what you're telling your brain is, let's ignore all the possibilities of this coming true, and let's focus on all the negative, and let's build that up to make this, reality. When instead, you need to knock that out, think of something that you're grateful for, think of something that you want to accomplish, and replace it. It takes about 21 days to replace that one bad habit, but positive affirmations is another great way in a step to getting yourself to loving yourself again, or accomplishing life goals, or, whatever it is you're aiming for.
That really is excellent advice, because we get so much negativity coming from outside of us, and then the negative self-talk. We beat ourselves up as much, if not more, than anything on the outside. So positive affirmations, along with making yourself a priority, carving out that me time for self-care, and all of these things are very important for creating that self-image, seeing yourself as desirable, beautiful, worthy, just the way you are, with just the body type that you have. Now, for someone who needs a little extra help, they hear this and they think, well, that sounds great, but I don't know if that would work for me. What can working with a professional like you, how would that really help them to get to where they want to be a lot faster?
I love that you asked that, because it's like reading a book. Okay, yeah, I relate to that. But what about me? Or, buying an outfit from my boutique. Okay, yeah, but what about me? I also offer styling services. So that way they have one-on-one time with me and my team, where there's no one else watching. They can, tell me their thoughts. I can then express my opinion, and we work together one-on-one, where I can work with them and show them, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to dress. We, list out certain things that you can do within a budget. And I'm working on their confidence while also dressing them at the same time. So it's like getting the full package. So it's like, yes, I relate to her book, but she doesn't know my story. Well, when you hire me and your team, not only do we help you walk out in style, but we hear your story and we can relate to you, and we help you with lifelong tips to get you along the way after.
I love that. And so if you're listening to this and you're struggling in this area, realize that it's more than just going shopping and picking out some new clothes. It's working on the inside as well as on the outside. And Micheale and her team are really, really good at doing this. So check them out at sochicsoyou.com if you want to find out more. Micheale, you mentioned a new book. Tell us a little bit more about that and anything else you have going on.
Thank you so much, Ralph. I'm super excited, guys. My book, Driven by Imperfections, Beautiful Flaws and Flaws and All, comes out November 19th, which is in about a week. You can get it at Amazon.com or any other major book retailer stores. My book really just walks through my journey from a child watching, my mom and my dad, relationship and seeing how bad my dad treated my mom, to dating and, with my own share of men and developing model behavior that I noticed from my mom, to then, becoming a wife, becoming a mom, like I mentioned, having 2 C-sections, getting the body images changes that I, wasn't ready for with the C-section and the loose skin and the stretch marks, and coming full circle into how that shaped me into the woman I am today. And I had a moment in my life where I had to learn how to love myself again. And I just share my journey with you guys. You'll be amazed, Ralph, when people see me and then they hear my story and they're like, oh, I never pictured, something like that to happen to you. You're so beautiful, or you feel like you don't go through that. And that's the reason why I wanted to share my book. Through this process, it's allowed me to heal, but I feel as though me sharing my story, even if it helps one other person out there, I've done my job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you also, in addition to that, you're really busy. You're also launching another brand called what?
Me, the brand. Yes. They can also find out about that on sochicsoyou.com if they click new collection. So like Ralph mentioned earlier in the interview, I am a proud Jamaican, even though I live in the United States. And so I wanted a brand that just spoke volume to my background, a Caribbean-inspired line that allows, me to show my culture and embracing everything else that we talked about. So you get the whole package in one, but you get a little bit more of me with my Caribbean flair. So yes, that is launching. You can find out information about it now and subscribe, but it will be official January 2020.
Awesome. Well, that is really, really super. And
Thank you.
I love how you have taken your entrepreneurial skills, you've built a business, but it's serving a purpose beyond just selling clothes. It is actually transformative. It's helping women to really change how they see themselves. That's just going to make them happier, more successful, more confident in every area of their life. So this is really, really amazing. Check it out. sochicsoyou.com. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Micheale, this has really been a fun conversation. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I just want to leave anyone out there who's listening that if you've ever felt, woman or man, not good enough, not pretty enough, not worthy enough, you've never demanded the respect that you rightfully deserve, it's not too late. Learn to love yourself again. You are perfectly imperfect, beautiful, flaws and all.
I love that. Very well said. Micheale Eccleston is a fashion designer, a speaker, stylist, fashion editor, and author, wife and mother, born in Kingston, Jamaica. She empowers women to own their beautiful, flaws and all. Micheale is impacting the lives of women all over the world and truly wants to help women with their confidence by sharing her story. So check her out at sochicsoyou.com. Micheale, thank you so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.